Giving all praises to Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yahweh. Yahweh is righteous. Yahweh is holy. Yahweh's law will be magnified. Exodus 16, verse 23. And he said unto them, This is that which Yahweh hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto Yahweh. Bake that which ye will bake today, and seethe that ye will seethe. And that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. Exodus 16, verse 25. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto Yahweh. Today ye shall not find it in the field. Exodus 16, verse 26. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. Exodus 16, verse 29. See, for that Yahweh hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. Exodus 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Exodus 20, verse 10. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Exodus 20, verse 11. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Exodus 31, verse 13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh, that doth sanctify you. Exodus 31, verse 14. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Exodus 31, verse 15. 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Sabbath of rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Exodus 31, verse 16. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. Exodus 35, verse 2. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth any work therein shall be put to death. Exodus 35, verse 3. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day. Leviticus 16, verse 31. It shall be a Sabbath of rest unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls by a statute forever. Leviticus 19, verse 3. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Leviticus 19, verse 30. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh. Leviticus 23, verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but in the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, an holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. Leviticus 23, verse 11. And he shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh, to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Leviticus 23, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Leviticus 23, verse 16. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahweh. Leviticus 23, verse 24. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Leviticus 23, verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. Leviticus 23, verse 38. Beside the Sabbaths of Yahweh, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto Yahweh. Leviticus 23, verse 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Leviticus 24, verse 8. Every Sabbath he shall set it in order before Yahweh continually, being taken from the children of Israel by an everlasting covenant. Leviticus 25, verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto Yahweh. Leviticus 25, verse 4. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for Yahweh. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. Leviticus 25, verse 6. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourneth with thee. Leviticus 25, verse 8. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, 7 times 7 years. And the space of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years. Leviticus 26, verse 2. Ye shall keep my Sabbaths, and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh. Leviticus 26, verse 34. Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths, as long as it lieth desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land, even then shall the land rest, and enjoy her Sabbaths. Leviticus 26, verse 35. As long as it lieth desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Sabbaths, when ye dwelt upon it. Leviticus 26, verse 43. The land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbaths, while she lieth desolate without them. And they shall accept of the punishment of their iniquity, because they despised my judgments, and because their soul abhorred my statutes. Numbers 15, verse 32. And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. Numbers 28, verse 9. And on the Sabbath day 2 lambs of the first year without spot, and 2/10 deals of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. Numbers 28 verse 10. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, beside the continual burnt offering and his drink offering. Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 12. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as Yahweh thy Elohim hath commanded thee. Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 14. But in the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. Deuteronomy 5 verse 15. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that Yahweh thy Elohim brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahweh thy Elohim commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. 2 Kings 4:23. And he said, Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, It shall be well. 2 Kings 11 verse 5. And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing that ye shall do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall even be keepers of the watch of the king's house. 2 Kings 11 verse 7. And 2 parts of all you that go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of Yahweh about the king. 2 Kings 11 verse 9. And the captains over the hundreds did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest commanded. And they took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath, with them that should go out on the Sabbath, and came to Jehoiada the priest. 2 Kings 16 verse 18. And the covert for the Sabbath that they had built in the house, and the king's entry without, turned he from the house of Yahweh for the king of Assyria. 1 Chronicles 9 verse 32. And other of their brethren, of the sons of the Kohathites, were over the shewbread, to prepare it every Sabbath. 1 Chronicles 23 verse 31. And to offer all burnt sacrifices unto Yahweh in the Sabbaths, in the new moons, and on the set feast by number, according to the order commanded unto them, continually before Yahweh. 2 Chronicles 2 verse 4. Behold, I build an house to the name of Yahweh my Elohim, to dedicate it to him, and to burn before him sweet incense, and for the continual shewbread, and for the burnt offerings morning and evening, on the Sabbaths, and on the new moons, and on the solemn feast of Yahweh our Elohim. This is an ordinance forever to Israel. 2 Chronicles 8 verse 13. Even after a certain rate every day, offering according to the commandment of Moses on the Sabbaths, and on the new moons, and on the solemn feasts, 3 times in the year, even in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. 2 Chronicles 23 verse 4. This is the thing that ye shall do. A third part of you entering on the Sabbath, of the priest and of the Levites, shall be porters of the doors. 2 Chronicles 23 verse 8. So the Levites and all Judah did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, and took every man his men that were to come in on the Sabbath, with them that were to go out on the Sabbath, for Jehoiada the priest dismissed not the courses. 2 Chronicles 31 verse 3. He appointed also the king's portion of his substance for the burnt offerings, to wit, for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths, and for the new moons, and for the set feasts, as it is written in the law of Yahweh. 2 Chronicles 36 verse 21. To fulfill the word of Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 70 years. Nehemiah 9 verse 14. And madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath, and commandest them precepts, statutes, and laws by the hand of Moses thy servant. Nehemiah 10 verse 31. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy it of them on the Sabbath, or on the holy day, and that we would leave the 7th year and the exaction of every debt. Nehemiah 10 verse 33. For the shewbread, and for the continual meat offering, and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbaths of the new moons, for the set feasts, and for the holy things, and for the sin offerings, to make an atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our Elohim. Nehemiah 13 verse 15. In those days I saw in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and lading asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. Nehemiah 13 verse 16. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish, and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Nehemiah 13 verse 17. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, What evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Nehemiah 13 verse 18. Did not your fathers thus? And did not our Elohim bring all this evil upon us, and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath? Nehemiah 13 verse 19. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened until after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. Nehemiah 13 verse 21. Then I testified against them, and said unto them, Why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. Nehemiah 13 verse 22. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates, to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 13. Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Isaiah 56 verse 2. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Isaiah 56 verse 4. For thus saith Yahweh unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Isaiah 56 verse 6. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahweh to serve him, and to love the name of Yahweh, to be his servants. Every one that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant. Isaiah 58 verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of Yahweh, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Isaiah 66 verse 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh. Jeremiah 17 verse 21. Thus saith Yahweh, take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Jeremiah 17 verse 22. Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day, as I commanded your fathers. Jeremiah 17 verse 24. And it shall come to pass that if ye diligently hearken unto me, saith Yahweh, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath day, to do no work therein. Jeremiah 17 verse 27. But if ye will not hearken unto me to hallow the Sabbath day, and not to bear a burden, even entering in at the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then will I kindle a fire in the gates thereof, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched. Lamentations 1 verse 7. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversary saw her, and did mock at her Sabbaths. Lamentations 2 verse 6. And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were of a garden. He hath destroyed his places of the assembly. Yahweh hath caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and hath despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. Ezekiel 20 verse 12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths, to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh that sanctify them. Ezekiel 20 verse 13. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness, to consume them. Ezekiel 20 verse 16. Because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Ezekiel 20 verse 20. And hallowed my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. Ezekiel 20 verse 21. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbaths. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Ezekiel 20, verse 24. Because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Ezekiel 22, verse 8. Thou hast despised mine holy things, and hast profaned my Sabbaths. Ezekiel 22, verse 26. Her priests have violated my law, and have profaned mine holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane, neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean. They have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them. Ezekiel 23, verse 38. Moreover, this they have done unto me. They have defiled my sanctuary in the same day, and have profaned my Sabbaths. Ezekiel 44, verse 24. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. Ezekiel 45, verse 17. And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings, and meat offerings, and drink offerings, in the feasts, and in the new moons, and in the Sabbaths, and all solemnities of the house of Israel. He shall prepare the sin offering, and the meat offering, and the burnt offering, and the peace offerings, to make reconciliation for the house of Israel. Ezekiel 46, verse 1. Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. Ezekiel 46, verse 3. Likewise, the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before Yahweh in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. Ezekiel 46, verse 4. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto Yahweh in the Sabbath day shall be 6 lambs without blemish, and a ram without blemish. Ezekiel 46, verse 12. Now when the prince shall prepare a voluntary burnt offering or peace offerings voluntarily unto Yahweh, one shall then open him the gate that looketh toward the east, and he shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, as he did on the Sabbath day. Then he shall go forth, and after his going forth, one shall shut the gate. Hosea 2, verse 11. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts. Amos 8, verse 5, saying, When will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small, and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit? Hallelujah. Let us praise the one and only Creator, Yahweh Elohim, who is the epitome of righteousness and holiness. Let's raise our voices to magnify the greatness of Yahweh. For we were created for Elohim. We are nothing without Elohim.